I've got with us this afternoon Chris Sojka. Chris is founder and chief creative officer of Madwell Agency, a very clever shop. They're an all structured shop where you've got basically all encompassing media, creative, account work, and all of that full service under one roof. Maybe we could start at the moment, Chris, by telling us a little bit about Madwell and kind of your unique position in the markets and what your clients rely upon you for.
Yeah, of course. And thank you for having me from our mutual shelter-in-place quarantine home scenarios. We started the agency about 10 years ago, and the goal was pretty simple. My business partner and I had been working at an SEO, paid search analytics shop. Social media was just suddenly coming to sort of matter. It wasn't even really a usable media outlet yet from a pay-to-play standpoint. And we were living our lives at the very end of a spear, it felt like, right? Like all the decisions about campaigns and communications and even media structures, placements, and budgets were already decided by the time the firm we worked at was engaged. So all that we got to do was, A/B test, change colors, do a little bit of multivariate testing on arrangements. And we just had this novel idea. It was basically the economy cratered. And we said, what if we start working with businesses and offering them a holistic solution? So we started doing this at night and doing it for kind of mid-sized tri-state businesses. And we would do everything for them. We would run all of their advertising, digital, outdoor. We would build and design new identities for them, build their website, run their nascent social media ecosystem, which then really just meant Facebook for the most part, and launch email and CRM campaigns. And we thought, it's so odd, but just two of us and a couple sort of freelance helpers are able to do all of this cohesively at a smaller scale. So we just kept grinding away and put away enough capital to open a shop, self-funded. Went to Bushwick, Brooklyn, because it occurred to us that a lot of the folks that we had been engaging with creatively that were working in the ad industry were living there. So we thought, why don't we just open where they live? Not thinking that it would scare the hell out of clients to come visit us. Now it's amusing to Fortune 100 CMOs to come and experience where we are. But we opened up shop there officially 10 years in July. And the whole theory from the beginning was to combine strategy, every aspect of creative, including technology and media buying in all of its formats under one roof, and to try to balance the work we did from the very beginning so that the strategic thinking and the creative thinking and the media thinking were synthesized at once, and no one of them would trump the other. So, literalizing the message of the medium, people joke about it being a cliche, but I don't think it's a cliche. I think it's actually exactly how we should view media, especially in an ever-evolving landscape. So today there's about 160 folks full-time between Denver, Brooklyn, and Hong Kong, and they're all working from home.
What about the clients? What are they telling you? What are they saying? What are you telling them? Are you stopping production? Are you advising on certain messaging? How's that faring?
Yeah, it's probably in three buckets, right? A lot of clients are slowing down their advertising and just sort of taking a cautionary approach, which is understandable. Other clients are looking for advice about how to be proactive during COVID-19, as a pandemic. I think, obviously, like any good actor, we're advising everyone to be very careful about what messages they do put out there. But I think different clients have different roles to play. Some are more informational, some are more joyful. And we're saying, look, the world didn't stop. In fact, everyone's trapped at home and everyone is, looking for a sense of community. And as a brand, you have a community. So, engage them, talk with them. Don't, you can let them know that you're doing everything to ensure the safety of your employees and do that sort of email blast thing that everyone's doing. But really what we're advising folks to do is produce content, produce things that inspire and energize folks. And if your product is meaningful and useful in this environment, don't be afraid to advertise. If you're going to offer somebody a cost savings, if you're going to offer somebody a beneficial I suppose, evolution of something they're doing in their life. Like, one of our clients is a Verizon-based sort of month-to-month phone service, a prepaid phone service, or postpay, I should say, prepay, getting it backwards, called Visible. And we're like, you guys bring joy to your followers across all your platforms. You've been doing that since you started. Keep doing it. Let's not make light of the matter. And then other clients, where they can provide advice, they have expertise because they're in the wellness space. We're encouraging them to engage in that dialogue. But I think just knowing that there's some degree of normalcy happening is the minimum a client can do for their customer base, the people they speak to. Pausing everything and going on lockdown kind of adds to this sense that we're all alone and trapped in our individual bubbles. So we're advising folks to go from humor and joy to informational to some version of business as usual, if they have a value to offer people.
Well, your guidance is good because, we've seen over the years that historically people that have stopped marketing or advertising during downturns, whether it's global issues or financial, economic situations, tend to have a tough time climbing back to the top of share of voice, the share of market. So it seems that you're giving good advice to your clients to where there's value, create content. And when you have something to talk about it.
Because if you go completely dark, people disengage with you today. Mm-hmm. And those engagements are hard to get. And at a moment when we're all sitting at home, like spending probably more time than ever consuming content, whether it's on our phone or on TV, or going outside. And I want to be clear about this. I'm completely committed to social distancing and following all those protocols. But like the reality is, I have a dog that I have to walk. I don't have infinite supplies in my home. And I think people, even in the safest conditions, still also need to be outside and will pass things, be they digital outdoor or more static outdoor. It is totally reasonable and meaningful to continue to communicate with the world as a brand. And I think to do anything otherwise, unless you're selling, something that is completely at odds with this, would be a loss of a relationship that many years went into building. And that may not be just sort of rebooted easily when things do eventually calm down.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. It makes perfect sense. And talking about digital out of home and content and campaigns, we've had the good fortune of working together on something called wearethecountervirus.com. Why don't you talk a little bit about the genesis and some of the thinking about that, Chris?
What's the message we want to convey? And I think the message we want to convey is that we are the counter virus, in that this virus needs us to live. And if we want this virus to die, we are what it takes to kill it, and that means everybody playing a role in countering the transmission and the spread and the hoarding.
Thank you. And you've done some amazing work. Your team has done great work, and we're affecting change, and it can't be more important than right now. And part of the digital nature of it is that we can get this right out globally. Yeah. And without people having to go outside and put up billboards. Yeah. I mean, we're sort of following our own guidelines, right? We're able to transmit our message to outdoor locations or any type of out of home, including point of care, doctor's offices, without actually anybody having to go and break the concept of social distancing, which what other outdoor medium can do that? Couple last questions. One is, you folks at the agency are innovative not only in creative, as we've just heard, but also in media. And you've taken steps recently into digital out of home programmatic with, I think, a couple of your clients. And is that for the kind of the same purpose of better targeting, of more automation, of getting the message out quicker? What was some of the thinking behind there?
I think for a lot of our clients, it's the ability to, we're a big believer as an agency philosophically that ad fatigue is very real, and that it doesn't just apply to banner ads. Everybody talks about blindness to the banner ad, but we actually think that we can impact our clients' businesses better if we use programmatic out of home through a couple key ways, right? One of them is we can load up many different creative variables, many different compositions, saying different things or themes on a message or variations, which, breaks down fatigue. Just at a simple level, if you're day parting and you're thinking about one message for people commuting to work and another message for people commuting back from work, that's a very rudimentary way that I think a lot of people still don't take advantage of digital out of home to the degree they can. Another aspect is that it does allow a lot of targeting. There are now all of these ancillary data groupings that we can utilize to control the message we show to whom, when, and why, and that can be triggered, right down to the weather, and that's incredibly important. We know that behavior shifts based on these external factors and triggers like traffic, like rain, like cold weather, not just time of day. And so we're really interested in being able to control the message at scale, because that's the last part of what's interesting to us, is that, message at scale. Historically, billboards create a sense of trust, right? If you show up on billboards and there's a bigness to your brand, and they create a ton of sort of sticky, memorable, mental value, but, historically it's been quite a static exercise. You make a big decision, you traffic the creative, you make the mechanicals, it's printed, it goes up, it's up for a little while. Now suddenly we can treat it with the same fluidity of thinking that we put to online advertising, but we can do it at the scale of outdoor advertising. And we can target and evaluate and refine and trade up to different creative depending on what we saw, and we can track that backwards and say, oh boy, that one piece of creative in this one geography created a disproportionate number of direct site visits. Let's extrapolate that learning across the entire digital out-of-home programmatic buy that we have created across multiple different networks. And I think that is already an amazing experience, but it's just getting started in how sophisticated it can and will become.
It's excellent. We've seen now how out-of-home, which traditionally operated as a reach and branding mechanism, now is operating right down through the funnel for better targeting, better understanding, consideration, and showing KPIs. So my last question for you, we're all working from home, and you're out in the very hip nature of Brooklyn, and what keeps you inspired these days? What do you turn to on a personal level to kind of keep it going, keep a smile on your face? What would you say to that, Chris?
It's gonna sound kind of trite, but behind me on the floor is there you go. And one of the simple pleasures has been going and playing fetch with him. Just playing the stupid game of catching and bringing back to me a red ball. It inspires me to maintain, I hope, a childlike spirit of creativity and levity in the face of very serious adult issues, and that's been a lot of inspiration. It's just sort of having that simple activity and building a routine out of it. So I'm sure everyone's telling you it's their pets inspiring them.
You've been good way to end it. You've been very inspiring. Your dog is inspiring. He doesn't know what's going on, so we can all take joy in doing that. And of course, the We Are the Countervirus campaign is tremendously inspiring and is already starting to affect change. So great work from Madwell, great work, Chris, and thank you for doing this, and we'll talk to you soon.